Welcome, welcome. I'm the artist known as IPaintCreatures, also known as IPC. I'm an award-winning performance poet, a storyteller, a painter, a filmmaker, an animator, and a self-proclaimed creatureologist and yokai-ologist. And I'm here today to present to you how I use Cartoon Animator 4 in my process to bring alive my Japanese folklore creatures. I work in a long lineage of storytellers and poets from my Japanese heritage. They were called Shugin poets. They were chanters and storytellers of the royal court of Japan. And my grandma, she specialized in telling yokai stories, orally telling them. And yokai are basically Japanese folklore creatures. And yokai, roughly translated in English, means strange spirit. And so what I'm showing you here today is I'm an artist that works in every visual art medium, from graphite to ink to watercolor to acrylics to oils, all the way into the digital medium. And I'm a storyteller, so most of my creatures are all employed to tell you a story. So I'm working on this epic story that's based in sci-fi and fantasy and the manga world, and it's called Matsu. And it features all these yokai creatures in this fantastical magical land. And so right here, I'm doing one of the background landscapes, and I'm doing it in ink and acrylics and watercolor. And I basically bring it in the computer and refine it. And that's when Cartoon Animator 4 steps in, and I can bring it in and add parallax and make it a real live background, just like Disney used to do in the day with that fancy parallax camera. And now I'm showing you how I traditionally draw and paint all my yokai creatures. I just do it from my imagination. I hardly use any reference, and I'm showing you how I use watercolor. And when I'm coming up with these creatures, I'm real intuitive and creative how I do them, and so I already see them animated in my head, and so I'm already starting to tell the stories and see their personalities. And what Reallusion Cartoon Animator 4 is, it does that right there. It brings Lance Turnip. He's a Chochin Obake yokai. He's a classic yokai. He's a lantern that after 100 years became a living strange spirit yokai. And then there's Fuji, the Roko Kurokubi girl, and she's the classic yokai. And then there's one of my favorite yokai I created, and I just drew it. You saw earlier in the video how I was just sketching him on the paper, and that's Browella. And he's also a Tutsugami yokai, an umbrella that came alive after 100 years. And then right there is Woro, and Woro is a Yamaworo yokai. He's a mountain goblin. And here I'm showing how Reallusion allows me to just do the watercolor, bring it in, refine it, then just rig it all up, put it right here, and then use that motion cap, and the creature come alive, and I get to see it exactly in one day. I can do this, where all the animation industry, it always started with the sketch, and it took a long time, the story development, character development, blah blah blah, on and on. But I'm here to tell you, Cartoon Animator 4 is such a valuable tool and instrument in my artillery. And go out and check it out. It is just phenomenal. Peace, IPaintCreature.